Alright, so hey guys, welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today, I want to sit down and take a look at a gaming PC company called APEX Gaming PCs. So basically, this is just a smaller end company that I haven't really seen a whole lot about, especially in kind of like the YouTube space and stuff like that. But we'll kind of talk about that here later on in the video. But today, I just kind of want to go over their site, talk about their PCs, talk about if you should buy them or if you should just even consider them. But before we get into that, make sure that if you do end up enjoying the video, to make sure to leave a like on it. And if you guys want to watch more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Now, just a disclaimer here, I don't actually have one of these PCs before, so I know a lot of you guys would be like, how can you even talk about this company and their PCs if you don't even have one of their PCs to sit down and look at? Well, the main reason why I just want to take a look at this is just for face value, you can get a lot of information about PCs when it comes to their pricing and their overall specs. And those are two things that companies pretty much just have to list in order for them to kind of sell their PCs. Because people aren't just going to buy a PC if they have no idea what kind of performance level they're going to get, if they're just paying for a certain price point. So they do list the specs, which is kind of what every company does. And today we're just going to be taking a look at the PCs, take a look at the components, take a look at the specs, the performance, and the pricing for these PCs. We're also going to do some comparisons with some other stuff that's on the market, just so you guys can kind of get a better idea of what kind of pricing you should be paying for PCs and what kind of pricing that these guys are offering. Now, going into this, I've already done all of my look over APEX. I've already done my research. I already have all my tabs up and stuff like that. And I already kind of have my opinion on the site. So with all that said, let's kind of get into this. So the first PC we're going to be taking a look at is going to be their lowest end PC. So it's going to be APEX Silver. And the main reason that I always take a look at the lowest end PC that most companies offer is because of the fact that it's going to be the most popular one that people are going to end up buying. Just because of the fact that it's the most affordable, and if people are looking to buy a PC from a particular company, it's usually going to be the cheaper one that they are going to end up buying because it's more accessible to most people. Now, their lowest end PC is $1,000, and that's not great considering this particular market. $1,000 for your lowest end PC pretty much positions you as a high-end or a premium company. And so with that, you need to make sure that you're offering kind of premium components, premium build quality, and premium everything all around. So for the price that you're actually getting a pretty nice Fantex case. It's a good case. I'd recommend it to most people, but it's not a very expensive case. It's around a $50 case. It's not anything crazy, but again, it's not anything I think that warrants the $1,000 price point. And then for the CPU, you're getting a Athlon 3000G, which is a pretty low-end CPU. It's really not made too much anymore. It's a 2-core, 4-thread CPU, and it's just not powerful for most tasks. It's pretty much only good for word processing and other things of that nature. Anything else that's really too resource intensive, this CPU is pretty much not going to be able to cut it. And then for the cooling, they're just going to be using that same stock cooler. They're not kind of adding in any of that exotic cooling that you would see from most high-end gaming PC companies. And for the GPU, you're getting the lowest end Nvidia GPU that is offered right now, which is the GTX 1650. And then for the motherboard, you're just getting a pretty low-end ASRock A320 board. You're getting 8 gigabytes of RAM, 120 gigabyte SSD, and that is your entire storage configuration. You only have 120 gigabytes, which is not a lot. And then for the power supply, you're getting a 450 watt, not bad. Again, I would like to see the efficiency rating on that, but just considering what this is right now, I'm assuming it's probably at least going to be an 80 plus, or at least I would hope. And then everything else kind of seems fine. There's no RGB, there's no wireless card, there's no antivirus, there's no nothing else. I just got the stock fans. I assume it's probably not going to have these Corsair RGB ones. I'm sure it's not going to have the kind of flash that you would expect it to have. Now, I know a lot of you guys are thinking, well, in this particular time, it's hard to get gaming PC parts and just gaming PCs in general for a good price. So some of you guys might think that this pricing is somewhat justified. Now, if you guys go over to Best Buy, and just to state the record, I pulled up all of these PCs to go against these other ones that are on APEX, probably within a series of a minute. It doesn't take long to find a gaming PC that is better value than one of these, just because of the fact that most of the time these guys are going to offer way better specs and price to performance than what the APEX Gaming PCs are going to offer. So the comparative PC for this one is going to be the iBuyPower Slate MR desktop. So this thing comes with an Intel i5-11400F, so it's going to be a really good CPU for most people. It's got 6 cores, 12 threads, which is 4 more cores than what this thing has, and those cores are going to be a lot faster as well. This should be great for anybody who wants to do just kind of get into video editing, wants to kind of get into streaming and stuff like that. You might need to buy a better GPU, but in general, this should be a really good CPU. Now, it's got the same amount of memory, not great. I would like to see 16 gigabytes, but you can upgrade that yourself, and that kind of goes with both of these PCs. And then for storage, this thing kind of blows out of the water with double the SSD capacity and a 1 terabyte hard drive. And then the GPU is the same for each. And then this one also kind of has the bling too. It has the RGB fans. You kind of get a free keyboard and mouse. They should be pretty good. And when it comes down to it, I think that this is just going to be the better PC. You're not getting extremely better cooling on the APEX server, and you're not really getting any sort of downsides with buying this iBuyPower system either. So yeah, again, I don't think that anybody should even consider the silver when you can just kind of go out and look for a minute on Best Buy and find a better deal that looks better and is probably going to perform better in the long run. All right, now we're going to move over to their APEX streamers. So a lot of companies kind of start promoting within the $1,500 price range to like, this is a PC that's meant for streaming. And that's a very good marketing tactic. I think that's fine, as long as you actually kind of back that up that it can stream. And I definitely think that this PC has the capability to stream. I don't think it's actually that bad of value. You're getting a Ryzen 5 3600. You're still getting the stock cooler. I would like to see maybe an aftermarket cooler like the Cooler Master, but again, the upgrade for that thing is a $60 upgrade. That's more than the actual cooler itself, which is kind of crazy to me because you can buy this cooler for $40. So yeah, I probably wouldn't go with any of the upgrades on the site if you can help it. And for the GPU, the 1660 is a good card. I don't think it's bad. I think that the upgrades again are kind of ridiculous. $245 for an RTX 3060 upgrade. Again, the RTX 3060 is going for around $400, and you're pretty much just giving away the 1660 for the 3060. That's a really expensive upgrade. Again, this PC will stream. It's just a lot of money for those specs. If you guys go on Best Buy, for the same amount of money, you guys are getting the Skytech Gaming Shiva Gaming Desktop, which has an Intel i7 11700F, which is an amazing CPU to stream with. It's an 8-core, 16-thread, going to have some really good performance, and a GeForce RTX 3060 with 12 gigabytes of RAM. Again, a great GPU to also stream with. It has a 1 terabyte SSD, which is going to be great for you storing all your files, for moving things around, for playing games and stuff like that. And then you also get 16 gigabytes of memory. And then as well, you're getting a 240 millimeter AIO, which should keep this i7 pretty dang cool. And again, you're still getting that stock cooler. You're getting a way worse CPU. In general, it's just not a good PC when you look on Best Buy for about 2 minutes. And then for the last PC I kind of want to take a look at, because this is getting kind of redundant at this point, they're APEX Platinum. So this is kind of their next tier up from the streaming PC. So the Platinum is like the next tiering up on their default systems. And it's pretty much the same system except with overclocking support. So you have an i5 1100KF. This is just the higher variant of this particular CPU. It just has a higher base clock, and you are able to overclock it to get some extra performance out of it. Now, in terms of cooling, they did step it up to the Hyper 212, but I would at least like a 240 millimeter AIO if I'm paying $1,700 for a system and it only has an i5 in it. Now, for the motherboard, you're getting a super cheap motherboard. You can't even overclock with this motherboard. So what is the point of getting the 11600KF in this machine? This motherboard right here is like a $50 motherboard, and they're charging $1,700 for this PC. And in terms of the GPU, you are still getting the exact same GPU that you are getting on their $1,500 gaming desktop. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense why you would even consider the Platinum, considering that this thing objectively is better value, but is still worse value than the $1,500 gaming PC that is on Best Buy. So of course this thing is going to be absolute garbage compared to anything else out there. And yeah, when we take a look at it, for way less money, for $1,700, and I still don't think that this is a great value gaming desktop either, you're getting an HP Omen with a Ryzen 7 5800X, which is an amazing CPU. Overclocks well. You are able to get some amazing performance out of this thing. It will beat the i7 in this particular system, and it's got a 3060 Ti, which again is a really good GPU as well, with a 1 terabyte SSD. Again, you could probably sit down and find a better gaming PC than this one for the same amount of money, because I really didn't spend a whole lot of time, and I really didn't have to, because it doesn't take a whole lot of time and thought to find a better gaming PC than what this one is offering you. Now again, I made sure to kind of go through and look through the reviews. This was something that I think is very important for most sites because it gives you a little bit of an insight about the kind of people who are buying these PCs, what kind of condition they're coming in, that sort of stuff. Now, of course, they only filter it by reviews or featured reviews, so which are going to be the ones that are going to be from, you know, the highest rating to lowest rating, because there are no 4 stars with any of these pages. So you literally have to sort from worst to best in order to see any kind of bad reviews. And I was looking at them, they're not bad. It's mostly just complaining about shipping and stuff like that, complaining about pricing, which is definitely understandable. And most of the time there's not any bad problems. I think that the customer support team on this particular gaming PC company is fine. It's probably not going to be anything crazy, but it's going to be what they would need for the customer base that they have. And I'm sure the packaging is also fine. I'm not really seeing anybody rave about the particular packaging on these PCs, so I doubt that it's going to be anything extravagant like coming in a wooden crate with a bunch of foam and stuff in it. I'm sure it's pretty much just coming in a standard cardboard box for the shipping. So to me, it doesn't seem like it's a bad gaming PC company. It's just the pricing is absolutely horrendous. Like the people there, I feel like take care in what they build. It looks like the cable management is pretty good. It looks like overall they put some care into putting these PCs together, which, you know, is definitely something that I think is worth some value. But even with those reviews and with that kind of that quality there, it's not going to make a whole lot of sense for people to go to APEX Gaming PCs and buy it over something else when the competition is just blowing them out of the water. Again, like I said, it took me 2 minutes to find this crap. It didn't take me long. If I really wanted to, I could find something that would pretty much kill every single one of their PCs on their site, but I really don't want to spend that kind of time into doing that. But again, I encourage you guys to do that, because if you're looking for a PC, you should be taking the time to see what the best deal you can get is. But before we kind of end it there and kind of get our conclusions, stuff like that, there's a couple of other things that I kind of want to talk about with this company. So one of the things that kind of got me was, these aren't the only PCs that they have. So they have a bunch of different ones, but the pricing for them all seem very, very similar. So the squad here, I don't know who these guys are, but it seems like they're a farming simulator gaming PC. So they have like these partners, right? So the squad is a YouTube channel apparently, and you are able to kind of have a gaming PC designed by a group of people, or just a sponsor or whatever, and then they will sell it on their website with your branding on it, which is kind of cool. I think that that's a good idea. But again, it's the pricing for this stuff is still as bad as it originally was. Like, this is the exact same thing as the starter PC, except with the upgrade to the Ryzen 3 3100, and it has around the same exact pricing. It's not like you're getting way better value. It's the same blanket pricing. It's just a different configuration. So that's kind of like the only little niche that they had. And I was like wondering, I'm like sitting here looking at like, why would all these guys come out here and just have their brands associated with this gaming PC company? Like, this is a lot. Like, a lot of these guys have over 100,000 subscribers. And I'm like, what is so enticing about putting in the work to just make a gaming PC configuration? I'm sure these guys will probably do it for you if you don't know anything about them. But I was looking at their partner program, which is something that you can join. I guess it doesn't really take anything. You can join their affiliate program. And I looked at it, and this is what popped up. So from what it looks like, it takes 30 days for you to get a payment from these guys. So basically, you get a referral link and crap like that. And if people buy a PC through it, you get 30 days, which is pretty standard. I've had some similar things happen to me. And you get a flat rate per order, which is not very common. Usually it's a percentage, so you'll either get like 3 or 4%. Usually flat rate offers usually aren't great because they're usually like 20 bucks, 50 bucks. It changes per group of people. But the commission amount for these PCs, no matter what price point you sell it at, is $150, which is absolutely insane. And this is, I think, one of the main reasons that these PCs are super expensive, because I think that they're just doling out coupon codes to Honey, which is one of the people that I have been getting a bunch of notifications from. Like here, they have a Honey 5 coupon code that gives you 5% off any order on the site. So of course, these guys are going to have to mark up their PCs because they've got so many discount codes. And that's absolutely insane because it just kind of gives these content creators the push in order to go and get these PCs. So for me personally, I don't know if it's a good or a bad idea to go with this particular model. Again, from just someone who's looking at the gaming PCs on their website, there's no incentive for me to buy these things. But again, if you're someone who follows one of these content creators, it might make sense because you want to support the guy and you want to get a gaming PC. And they're not bad gaming PCs. They're not bad at all. I don't think in terms of long-term growth, it makes a whole lot of sense because these guys are going to lose interest in the PC every once in a while. Unless you kind of give them incentive to start promoting their PCs again, these guys aren't going to constantly keep on pushing it and pushing people to the site. The only way that you're going to get people constantly push the site is if you have a good reputation. And a lot of times, having a good reputation will have you being pushed by subreddits, will have you being pushed by other people in the enthusiast community. Because the reality is of the gaming PC market, people rely on enthusiasts to kind of tell them, hey, this is a good deal and this is a bad deal, because a lot of people don't know how good a Ryzen 3 3100 is and if it's worth a $120 upgrade, which it's not, because $120 is how much this thing actually costs. So paying for an upgrade that's the same amount as that CPU is again, a terrible deal. But again, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense from my standpoint to price your PCs so aggressively just to make up for the fact that you have content creators that are offering discounts for pretty much every PC that you have. And again, giving them $150 is a pretty good incentive. Like if you sell 2 PCs, that is $300 cash in your pocket, which is a great deal for them, and that's a good incentive. But again, you are really limiting your audience of people who are able to buy your PCs. Because if someone who comes in and doesn't know any of these people and weren't recommended by any of them, personally, I don't watch any of these guys' content because I'm more of a tech guy. Because of that fact, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for people to come on this site and then just start looking at their PCs and be like, yeah, I want to buy one of these, because that has got to be a pretty large audience, I would assume, for most gaming PC websites. So again, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Again, I think one of the two things that a gaming PC company needs to have is, first off, the good price to performance. Like they have to have some sort of value proposition there so that people can recommend them within a certain scenario. Like if you fill a niche, then go and, you can charge more for that particular PC because it's filling a niche that is not filled within the market. But again, you really need to have some sort of value compared to what other companies are offering, or else, people aren't going to recommend gaming PCs to their friends. Because again, people who know about PCs aren't going to be recommending this to their friends, and I don't think that a whole lot of people are just going to end up talking about this, and this is going to get a whole lot of publicity because it's going to a very small group of people that it looks like they don't know a whole lot about gaming PCs, because these are just vloggers, Minecraft, YouTubers, Fortnite guys. Which again is a very big audience in YouTube, but when it comes down to it, I think that when most people are looking for a gaming PC, they're looking for advice, and when they look for advice, they're going to people like Linus Tech Tips, they're going to Discords, they're going to Reddit, they're going to places that are filled with hardware enthusiasts to see if it's a good deal. And if I had to guess, if you went on Reddit and search up APEX Gaming PCs, most of the time, every single hardware enthusiast is going to say that their gaming PCs are overpriced and you should check out this other gaming PC, whatever that one may be. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. I don't think that they are a bad company. I think that the way that they're just going about things is a little bit backwards. And again, if they want to improve, again, it's their company, they can do whatever they want, but this is just kind of my little 2 cents that I add on to the video. So if you guys did up enjoying it, if you want to see more content like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.